Well, it is certainly no secret on here by now that I am a parent, and I've been so for quite some time. And the question was posed by Mojo Pin about how do I come to terms with being a parent in this modern internet era? You know, when our greatest blessing is in fact our greatest curse as well. You know, the same gigantic library that gives us whatever information we seek at the tip of our fingers is also the greatest hub of just pornography and the filth that humankind can generate. What measures do I take to adapt to that, to cope to it, to, you know, protect my child from such a thing? And I'll tell you, individual mileage may vary because a person's going to be a person, meaning that how your child ends up, in my opinion, is how they're going to end up to a point. Mojo and I both being believers, if we are so, then we know from Scripture that says the best you can do, all you can do for your child is, as an arrow, you can make sure that their fletching is true, but there comes a time when you have to release that arrow, and the hopes that, you know, where that arrow goes is where it ends up. And again, when the Scripture says all you can do is hope that the fletching is true, that's the amount of influence we have. So how does that translate into practicing with the internet? And for me, it has been a matter of honesty. You know, regardless of how young, you let the child know that there are bad things out there, and you restrict access, but you also clearly state the reasons for that. So you make sure you have to be aware of everything, and you make sure that the areas that are allowed, you know, instead of only trying to block certain areas, you start out by only allowing certain areas. And if push comes to shove, my opinion is what the parent has to do, if you really have a trouble with your kids and the internet access, you need to be willing to cut it all off. Even if that implies cutting yourself off from it, you need to have a willingness to do so. Because I've seen the mistake made in the past where a person's having trouble, you know, the kid's sneaking around. And I said, well, you know, he asked me what I thought. And I said, well, it seems like you just need to shut the internet off. He's like, yeah, we're coming to that. I'm like, you know, you shut everything off. And it's just like that. And unfortunately, the sooner you do that, the better off you are, you know. And I don't think while a person is still underage, while they are still a child, it's our job still to protect them and to let them know that what we're doing is protecting them, and just be that armor that they need at that's such a critical time. So I didn't mean to sound that preachy, but I know it's something that a lot of us think about, and it's definitely something that's always on my mind, you know. And it trickles down, and I hate to do it, but 9 times out of 10, I'm looking over, when she's on the internet, I'm looking over her shoulder, you know, especially the massive multiplayer games, and I'm monitoring that text, and if it gets foul, then it gets stopped. You know, that's all there is to it. This has been your Daily Dose of Lambdog.